And we're live right now. Guys, welcome back to Just Boxing. Me, myself, my dad are going to be talking about today's subject following the shocking defeat of Canelo Alvarez last night, or Saul Alvarez as he's officially known by. He was beaten by Bivol. I think I've pronounced his name right there. And opening question, Dad. Can Jake Paul beat Canelo Alvarez, as he said in numerous videos?
Personally, I think he can't. He can't, just on boxing skills and, this Alvarez, he's been beat. He got beat last night. He got beat fair and square. I've just watched the highlights and he kind of... Look, sometimes in boxers' lives they go one step too far, and this is one of the occasions where I think he's went one step too far. Underestimated Bivol,
I agree.
And paid the price.
Yeah, I think when I first started out this YouTube venture, I've got other channels and stuff, guys. If you don't realise, I was quite outspoken on Jake Paul in the beginning, right? Because if I'm honest, I was somewhat of a hater. I didn't like the fact that this guy could come from relatively nowhere. He was already a famous person, and then just start boxing from no experience whatsoever. And, I think a lot of guys who've been in the boxing ring, I've been in the ring over 30 times, I understand the game. It sometimes hurts our egos a little bit when someone like that comes into the sport, already famous, doesn't need to do it, and actually does all right. In the beginning, he fought bums effectively, but, he did fight Tyrone Woodley. And although he's not a boxer, he's one of the hardest strikers in UFC history. A fantastic man with his hands. And for me, watching him grow into this person who you have to identify him now as a real boxer. He is a real boxer, and he's actually pretty damn good. And the fact that he called out Canelo Alvarez numerous times in the past made me think, no chance. Who's this smug guy? Who's he think he is? But as time goes on, and the things he's been saying, it makes me wonder, actually, can Jake Paul beat Canelo Alvarez? I think there's a massive chance that he can. He's at the end of his career for one, Alvarez. How many fights he got? Well, 61
62 fights or something like that. Couple of draws, couple of losses. But there's always a but, isn't there? He's had, he's fought 18 world champions. 18 world champions he's fought and beat, right, apart from Floyd Mayweather.
Which, to be fair, Canelo was a young guy, wasn't he?
Why is people drawn into this hype with Jake Paul? I still don't get it. I don't get it.
He sells tickets, Dad.
John Fury was right. John Fury was right. What is it with this? Yes, it's money talks. He's a world-renowned YouTuber, and he's got money to throw here.
He's a businessman, and he's a bloody good businessman.
Right? Okay, right. But he ain't no flash boxer in my eyes. He's nothing special at all. Eddie Hearn just did an interview with him recently, and more or less spelt that out to him. And he didn't like that. And he didn't like it because the truth was put to him. And because the truth was put to him, look, he's had 5 fights for crying out loud. 5 fights against, I don't know, UFC fighters, I don't know, karate champions, whatever you want to call them. They are not seasoned professional fighters. A seasoned professional fighter will pose a very, very different threat.
Yeah, I mean, right, here we go then. Me, for example, I haven't been in the boxing ring for about 10 years, maybe it's a little bit more, right? Didn't do amazing, didn't do bad. I did all right. I did my bit. Think of it this way then. If I jumped in the ring as a pro now, it would be technically out of nowhere, even though I've got a bit of experience. If I'd fought the lads that Jake Paul fought and had the same outcomes, i.e. knocking these guys out, 5 fights, 4 knockouts? Tyrone would you be worried if I fought Tyrone Woodley?
Absolutely not.
Get out of here, man, Dad. He's a power punch. I'm a similar height to him. Jake Paul's 6'1". Tyrone Woodley is... The man can hit 5 times... Is he 5 times UFC champion? You know, we got to put things into context. I think
ask
early
yourself
on,
a question and be truthful. When you were boxing at a high level, when you were a younger lad, you fought some very, very good fighters, and you need to remind yourself of that.
Yes, but Jake Paul has had zero background in boxing, and he's competing on a already tough stage. And you know something? Everything he said he's going to do in boxing, he's actually doing. Do I think he's genuinely on a route to wanting to fight someone like Alvarez? I think he is. And to be honest with you, in 3 years' time or so, when Alvarez wants a payday, he's going to think it's easy pickings to fight Jake Paul. And I think that's where he makes a massive mistake. I genuinely think this guy's priming himself to beat the smaller guy. I mean, we got the stats here for Alvarez. He's 5'8", right? We seen yesterday that guy, when he fights someone who's bigger than him in Dimitri Bivol.
Struggles.
Bivol is 6 foot tall. Jake Paul is an inch taller than Bivol again, all right? And he struggled massively struggled. And we're talking about an actual living legend in the boxing game here in Canelo. Let's not forget that. And he was made to look pretty poor.
I don't think he massively struggled. I think he didn't realise that the weight difference was going to have such an effect on him, because I've said it before, he's went into fights and he's massive, he's a legend in his own right, Mexican legend, and the egos tend to go through the roof, so they kind of expect the decision, if that makes sense. When they're going in, and this Bivol, he what was it, 19 fights?
That was his 20th fight.
20th fight prior to this, and I don't know what kind of opponents he's fought, but he certainly looked to be a little bit of he was a classy little... I'll tell you something, I watched that fight, right, and I'll be honest with you, I'll be brutally honest with you. A fight with Usyk, I think Bivol would give him one hell of a fight.
Yeah, you know something?
I honestly really do. I think
that's actually a great fight right there.
Yeah. I think you're looking at a guy who's got the potential and the skill set and the master chessful boxing brain, because he outthought Canelo in every round. He countered him, and of course he was fast, he was speed, he was hitting 5, 6, 7 accurate punches.
He was very, very accurate.
Accurate.
And accuracy beats people in this game.
Well, what does that tell you from the off? It tells you that he might not have had the vital experience behind the fights behind him, but his trainers are very, very, very good to get a guy to that level.
You know what I noticed when I was watching the fight, and I've only watched the highlights. There were quite a comprehensive highlight though. What I seen in that fight was Bivol was really, really comfortable in there.
Very comfortable.
And he's fighting someone who's got 61 fights. And where did that confidence come from?
The confidence come from the first and second, third round. He actually knew. He'd felt his punches. He'd felt Alvarez's punches, and he knew that them punches weren't bothering him in the slightest. But when he started throwing his, counter punching and started throwing his and landing with his, he went, hang on a minute. He knew he was hurting Alvarez. He knew that for a certain fact. Yeah. So you gain confidence from that. You gain massive confidence from that.
He looked very comfortable in there, I have to say. As comfortable as he could ever be in there. Bearing in mind, you're in, I keep saying this, with someone who's... Everyone was scared of Canelo. His punches can as we've seen, break orbital bones. One of the strongest bones in the face. This guy destroys. It's a horrible subject to talk about, but this man is quite prolific.
But these were lightweights. You're talking about Kell Brook there, going off the subject. You're talking about Kell Brook and you're talking about Gennady Golovkin. In my view, Golovkin beat him, and I said it then, I'll say it again. Golovkin was robbed. Only this time in this fight, the judges. They didn't rob. They give the right decision to Bivol.
Right decision.
And if you looked at the end of the fight, which I did, I looked at the fighters' faces to see how it gives a lot away, to be honest. And I looked at Canelo, and when the decision was made, his training camp were wide mouthed. They were like, "What the fuck's happened there? We get these decisions.
Yeah,
Not this time you don't, pal.
Well,
not this time you don't.
You know, bad decisions, good decisions that get swayed in favour of the champion. That's been around since the beginning of boxing, but there's been a few times when on the Alvarez team where there's been
disputed decisions.
Some disputed decisions. Let's just put it nicely, eh? But bringing it back in, the whole Jake Paul thing. As crazy as it sounds,
he's big news. He's big news, man.
I genuinely think that
he's big news.
And look. There's a reason he gets so much hate, is because he's proven everyone wrong. No one believed him in saying that he's going to have a fully fledged boxing career, and he's doing it. And he's doing bloody all right. 5 fights in, and I see his next few opponents being a little bit better than, say, Tyrone Woodley. To be honest with you, I don't think his 6th fight should be someone like Tommy Fury. I think he will... I hate to say this because I love Tyson Fury, and I love the Furies as well. I think they're a great family.
They're great. I love them all. I love John. I love Tyson and the rest of them. They speak good. They speak
good, honest people.
Boxing people.
They're all good for boxing. Tommy Fury included, but I just don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got it in Jake Paul's 6th fight to come anywhere close to Jake Paul. I think he gets knocked out.
You take Tommy Fury and his box record and put it to one side, and then take his name away, right? He ain't a Fury for 1 minute. Then somebody looks at that and they go, right, look, does he look... They took him away. They wouldn't even give him a look. The only reason he was gaining interest is because of his name, Fury, and I'm sorry.
Hey, look, fair play to him, but put that aside. Let's just pretend he isn't a Fury. Where do you put him on the English circuit right now? Do you put him in contention for a Northeast title as a pro?
I've seen some bloody hard fights, mate.
I don't even think Tommy Fury, God's honest truth, I don't even think Tommy Fury would win an area title as a professional.
It would be bloody tough for him.
It would be a tough, and it would be...
We've seen it for ourselves.
Man,
we've seen lads fight to the death for an area title.
Some decent lads as well.
There's been easier British titles, and back in the day, I don't know if it still exists, they used to be called an English title, which was kind of an intimate title before the British title. And can you remember a lad from when you used to go to the professional gym over Tommy Conroy's in Sunderland there? Ryan Kerr, young Ryan Kerr from Scotland.
Fought his heart out.
What a warrior he was. What a warrior, going off the subject. But look, you put Tommy Fury... This is a different age, man. People have got to get real. It's a different age. There's a transition being made here from boxing to this glamorized... boxing spectacle, whatever you call it.
Should it be?
Why not?
It's the first and foremost, it's the entertainment business, isn't it? Right?
Why not?
So, hey, I think it's good. Honestly, I think it's good. If I had the chance to be part of it, I would be part of that. More so than your bog standard professional boxing. Why? Because how many boxers get truly hurt in that game? We might not see the damage happen straight away, but we know it's a dangerous game, Dad, and people take hits. We've seen it in the ring ourselves where, post-fight lads have collapsed, been took off to hospital, left paralysed for life and everything. It's a horrible, hard game, right? So
make it easier and give them more money, man.
Absolutely, I'm all for it. And this is the thing. It's the famous quote from Gladiator. Are you entertained? Are you not entertained?
Yeah.
I tell you something, I'm entertained every time I watch Jake Paul, whether I'm on his side or not, I'm bloody entertained.
So he's put this thing together, and it's working, man, and it's what people want to see, especially the younger guys and girls, and they want to see it, man. It's a real big stage, isn't it, at the moment? But we boxing thinkers has got to get out of this mindset of,
He's trying to protect the old, and
let it go.
With that being said, trying to protect something that, let's face it, was going down a slow, slippery slope. I think it's not just Jake Paul. It's this whole new genre of boxing. It adds layers to it that people want to tune in and watch. You might be a hardcore, old-fashioned school boxing fan like we are. We'll watch the fights all day long. But there's some people who just don't want to watch it. We need the casuals to be supporting. Every sport needs casuals, right? So why not boxing? Why not have the casuals come in every now and again on a massive pay-per-view watching the likes of Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul or some other social media star? It's going to be an exhibition-style thing. It's good.
If you chuck the boxing mentality out the window and you think, you know, like me and you, we thinking Tyson and Jake Paul, and Tyson's like my age, he's 55, isn't he? 55, 56?
56-year-old.
I watched that man from being... you know, from the beginning of his career to the end of his career, and he didn't have a very long, really. He didn't have a long career, Mike Tyson.
Well, his peak, wasn't very long.
He peaked. It was like 4 or 5 years. He was at his brilliant best. Then he kind of, anyway, off the subject. So, but if he has a chance to, or people want to see Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul, it's still in the younger people or the younger viewers who's watching it. It's still in their mind. Oh, it's Mike Tyson. They don't think about his age. They don't think about anything.
They're watching Mike, aren't they?
They're watching Mike, and
who doesn't want to watch Mike?
And to be honest, Mike, after he had that fight with Roy Jones, at the end of it, and the referee, he was looking and said, do you know what, you're giving this guy credit, he's on about Roy Jones, he's only been out of boxing a few years. Tyson, I've been out of boxing 15 years, I've had to punish my body to get, so that the R, it's not just a farce altogether, the R having to get into some kind of shape to survive this, otherwise they're going to make themselves look a right idiot.
Absolutely.
And Mike Tyson doesn't want to do that. Yeah, he's got 4 or 5 good rounds in him. It'll be a good exhibition fight. In real terms, Jake Paul, being a younger lad,
he's 25-year-old.
He's knocking 7 bells out of you, man.
Of course he is. 25-year-old.
Am I right to say that?
Here we go. Right, tell you what, I've got his boxing record here, and his stats and stuff like this. Bearing in mind, we've all seen his performances, right? Jake Paul's 25 years old. Orthodox stance, 6'1". The dude's tall, man. He's a cruiserweight, so he's a good size for a cruiser.
Just outside of the heavyweight division, yeah.
76-inch reach. He's in shape every time he enters the ring. He trains his arse off. 5 fights, won 5, lost none. 4 knockouts, all right? 4 knockouts. You can't be a hater. You can't continually be a hater when the guy keeps on producing the goods. There's got to be a time when you go, you know what, you need to start giving him some credit. And he is a danger, I think, to a lot of professional fighters right now.
I won't give him credit until he's fought credible opponents.
He needs to fight. Who's a credible opponent for him next in his 6th fight then? Bearing in mind, Mike Tyson, Nigel Benz, all of these destroyers of boxing fought bums the first 10, 15 fights.
I don't know, get a fighter who's just outside of retirement. I don't know, put Tony Bellew in with him. What do you say to that?
I get where you're coming from.
Pay Tony Bellew £50 million and £100 million and stick him in with him, and you'll see who wins.
Who did Tony Bellew fight his 6th fight? Bearing in mind he had a fantastic amateur run.
We saw him, Bellew.
Yeah, but as
an amateur, as
think
a professional.
Think about the question though. Who did he fight in his 6th fight? He was fighting bums, man, like the rest of them.
But that's the way it goes in the professional.
Right. So
your first 10 up.
So why didn't the likes of them get shit for their start? You know, let's face it. Although Tyrone Woodley might not be an official boxer, the man's a fighter.
Right. I'll stop you there. Who should he fight? Does he need to step up now?
Well, I tell you what, actually, I'll go back on my word, just to put him into contention as being a legitimate fighter. He needs to fight someone like Tommy Fury next, who everyone without doubt
I was going to say Tommy Fury.
He is. The only thing that's making people go, oh, he shouldn't fight him or this, that, and the other, because people generally believe, and yourself included, because you said it, that he'll kick Tommy Fury's arse, right? But if that's what needs to happen for him to get the credit he deserves now, then, hey, let it happen. Let him fight Tommy Fury. I don't think in 10 fights out of 10, I think Jake Paul beats him because he's more hungry than him. Believe it or not, I generally think Jake Paul's more hungry than Tommy Fury. I wish it wasn't the case because Tommy he comes from a fighting family, doesn't he?
These guys are getting 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40, 50 times more than they would get in a boxing fight.
We know that.
They're queuing up to fight Jake Paul. They're queuing up. There's miles and miles of people. They're queuing up for ex-fighters, younger fight. I don't know, but Jake Paul's just picking who he wants when he wants. I think he's going a little bit too far at the moment when he's asking for the likes of Alvarez. And you don't seem to think so. And
No,
this is what this is what's getting me.
We've got to listen.
I don't
to what
understand that.
We've got to listen to what he's been saying though. He's been saying in 3 years' time he wants to fight him.
Right.
That's realistic, man.
Okay.
I think it's honestly, he's had 3 fights now. He was one of the most active professional fighters, even though he wasn't alleged proper fighter.
We can't see into the future, but 3 years is a long time.
Well, it's a long time for Alvarez. He's had 61 fights already. So is he even going to be around in 3 years' time? That's the thing.
What's Jake Paul saying? We'll wait till he's been retired a while and 2 or 3 stone heavier. And I don't know. So I'm going back to the size of the guy. He's a cruiserweight. Limited, but getting better. And he's obviously
can't be denied that.
Another vital point. Another massively vital point with him is that he's got a fantastic training team behind him.
He's got the money to be able to put the work in. Look, money and training and coaches and everything means jack shit when you haven't got the desire. Now, there's one thing that people think Jake Paul's a bit nuts, a bit crackers, a bit crazy. You need to be that when you've got goals like 8. And I tell you something, that's the very thing that's going to get him through, because he's not just a bit crazy. He's got the money and the team behind him to make him just... He's putting in the work, Dad, you know?
Do you know who I think, and it's just my opinion, right? I've got a fighter in my mind, and I've had it in my mind for this step up for him right now. Go and offer this fighter a substantial amount of money to fight him, and then we'll see how good you are. And that fighter is David here.
Yeah, fair one. Hey, tell you something. I would like to say. Yeah, I can't. I would like to say that, but I tell you,
if
something.
He wants to step. He needs to step up from this point.
It'll be. I tell you what.
David
now,
here, you'll get a look at where he is fighting David here, because David here made a bit of a comeback. Yes, he had 2 losses to Tony Bellew. Whatever, he's come to the end.
Though, David here wouldn't have. I generally think he wouldn't have gotten beaten his prime, but everyone needs to get their arse kicked out of the career.
Tell me, anybody out there right now, tell us I'm wrong that David here wouldn't be the best opponent for him right
now. It's a good choice.
And then you'll see the transition of him. You'll really see how good he is against David here. I don't care what you say. And then you'll look at him and think, like, he can go a little bit further or he can't. David is your man right now.
It's a bloody tough fight,
and it's a hell of a fight.
It's a good fight. I don't think David's bombing him out and around. I think it's a.
Am I right or wrong?
I would like. Look, hey, I tell you what. We'll ask the question to the audience to drop a comment in. Would you like?
Am I right or wrong?
I never thought we'd go down this road, but would you like to see Jake Paul fight David here next? That hasn't even been mentioned, has it?
No. It's been mentioned today, right now.
I tell you something. Jake Paul, Tony Bellew, but Dad, we're talking ex-world champions. You know,
forget them. David is the exact opponent for this guy as a test to moving forward.
A 6-fight fighting David here.
Why not?
Well, you know, if he wants to fight Alvarez,
give David here £50 million.
I tell you why he's not going to fight someone like that. And this is one thing that Jake Paul's been criticised for. All right,
you listening, Jake Paul? Get in with David here.
He's not fighting. He's not fighting people the weight he should be fighting at. He's fighting smaller dudes, everything else, blah blah blah.
So he's
picking on Canelo Alvarez. He's at the end of his career, isn't he? Really, let's be honest. 61 fights. I know the Mexicans like to have a lot of fights, but let's think logically. In 3 years' time, he's definitely going to be past it, isn't he? So Jake Paul needs to fight someone 6'1". I think David is about that height. He was a natural cruiserweight, and I tell you something.
Tell us I'm wrong.
A bloody good cruiserweight as well, David here.
Undisputed.
So, you know, I don't know.
Is that a great fight? Has that got the makings of being a great fight?
I think
tell us I'm wrong.
I think he blows him away in a couple of rounds, David here, if he wants to. But, you know, if the payday is worth it, I think we might see a different decision.
He beat Bellew. I mean, look, I'm just thinking.
Nah, he didn't beat. Bellew beat Heyman twice.
No, sorry, I'm off the track a little bit. Yeah, he two defeats David A to Bellew, but David A just seems the right choice for him right now.
David A still trains prolifically, though, you know.
You know, or he can give Deontay Wilder a phone call. I don't know.
Look, However, we're getting off. Look, let's get back.
Right.
So let's just wrap it up. You had the final thoughts yesterday, so I'm taking the final thoughts today.
Yeah, go for it.
I forget what I was going to say now. Right. Jake Paul, Alvarez, 3 years' time, talking about being realistic, talking about his trajectory, talking about the money, the team behind him, and the little bit of crazy personality that he has got, and momentum as well. Is it possible for Jake Paul to beat Alvarez based on all of that? Based on his height, size, weight, youth, desire,
it's possible.
Team,
It's possible.
money, production, amount of money being pumped into him, I think he stands a better chance than people give him.
If it's somewhere down the line after his retirement, he's been out of the game for a little, I don't know, a year. So, me personally, if he went in with him, like if he retired now, and he went in with him, I don't know, 6 months down the line or a year down the line, I think Alvarez has beaten him. I really do.
Right then, troops. So you've heard it here on the channel. My final thoughts weren't actually my final thoughts. Dad stole them from me, but if you've got any comebacks on that,
David here, he's the next man for your Jake Paul.
Then let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you've made it this far, just drop a comment to say if you've watched the video. If you enjoy this content, then please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and all of that good stuff. I'm not just saying this. My dad's had conversations about this. We were already on YouTube in various different forms, but we want to build this to be the best. I think it's realistic, not saying the world. We definitely have the potential that we think this is going to be the best boxing podcast channel in Great Britain, period. That's what our aim is, and that's where we're going to go with it. So if you want to help us out on that journey, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, drop a comment to either myself or my dad, and we'll get back to you as best we can. But whatever you're doing today, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you very, very soon.
Peace
Out, troops. Thank you.